Friday night, I want a Chippy Tea. Chippy Tea, Chippy Tea, I want a Chippy Tea. Oh, you keep giving me posh, no, she don't agree with me. I don't want lobster thermidor with raspberry Kool-Aid. It's Friday night, I'm within me rights, I want a Chippy Tea.
Oh, this is in trouble if I drop out. Since camera wappy. Right.
Don't try and tell everybody you spent a fortune on a new camera. It's Ailey going like this.
I was going to tell you Ailey's not in today, but she's not. She's just doing this.
Right, so you're having a beer then, yeah?
I'm having a bottle of Corona.
You're having a Corona. Nice big Mexican one that's not allowed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
and it's in commiseration.
I am going to have a beer as well.
Is that beer? Or is it an ale? What do we call it?
It's an ale, but it's Guinness. Because guess where I am? Southampton.
Scotland. No. Middlesbrough.
Yeah, South Island. I'm in Navan, a little place called Navan, just outside Dublin.
Navan. A bit like Nirvana.
Navan. I'm probably saying it wrong. But I will press pause.
No, I'll do it now.
Yeah.
I'll do it now. Let's break the mold, Tony. Let's call this Season 2. A fresh start. A new type of podcast. None of that fucking about. Just me and me having a chat, a chin wag, getting stuff off his chest. And with a bit of luck, some print talk will come out of it, but can't guarantee
well,
it.
yeah,
That's
that was the premise when we started, to be fair, wasn't it? That's what we were supposed to be doing when we started.
That was the topic of choice, but somewhere down the line.
We went off on tangents. I think we went off on a tangent for about a year, didn't we?
Do you know what? You just give Luke goosebumps. It's like, oh, tick. I finally give me. It's bingo dabble.
He's the only one. He's the only one that plays bingo, though.
Well, I know.
Shell were cleaning up the other day. She went, "What's this?" Oh, it's me bingo dabber. So I'm putting it in bin then, yeah? No, you've got to keep it. Luke did all that and then laminate it.
Nostalgic.
I'll put it there with all your crap.
Me nearly went to bingo just before Christmas, as is tradition. And the previous year, we won jackpot. The very last number of the very last game, we won jackpot. So we went again this Christmas, hoping to repeat. Ailey was one number away on the very last game, the very last line, the very last number from winning jackpot again.
Wow!
And somebody pipped us to it, got a number, and then but one number away. And I thought,
what a shitter!
So we're not off on holiday this year. That's gone out that window now.
Now you got to work like the rest of us.
Yeah, I know. Well, God, that work thing, you know.
I don't think I'll catch on.
Really.
Yeah,
No,
I'm not up for it.
No, I can imagine you're not at the minute.
Yeah,
So-
not a shitty day. Yeah, you could say that you've caught Chippy Tea podcast caught me on what I call a shitty day. I'm renowned for being always good, and that was tested to the limit today.
It's tested you to the limit for a while, hasn't it? Over the past, it's been since just before Christmas, I think, hasn't it?
December 16th. Yeah. So anybody that don't know, I'll give a quick recap. December
synopsis.
Yeah, quick synopsis. I'm not sure I know what that word means. We'll do a catch up. It sounded awesome. You blew me for a minute.
Can you rephrase that, please, mate?
Yeah, well, yeah. I didn't think you'd pick up on it, but you did. Anybody that knows has been following us. I had some issues getting into the States in December 16th. Arrived in Minneapolis, got turned around for having the wrong kind of visa. Got told to apply for a different kind of visa, which was expensive and time-consuming. Had to create evidence and documents and whole dossiers. Spent a lot of time gathering all my information. And I had an interview with the US consulate today in Belfast in Ireland, which is one of the reasons I'm in Ireland. And it got denied again. So I know, yeah. And if you ever watch the Apprentice, where they go and have that interview where it's completely and utterly rigged, and they're just trying to pull them apart, and they're already negative and don't want anything to do with them, it was exactly like that basically. Waited for 2 hours to have a
already made type of thing.
60 seconds for him to say no. You're taking American jobs and all that rubbish. So
did you have it? Oh, that was the reason you're taking work off of people. Isn't it?
They didn't give me a definite, absolute reason. I just got a no, denied. Yeah. Which obviously has made me question life's choices.
Well,
but it's a roadblock. It's a block in the road. And when we see a block in the road, we don't just stop and give up and cry. We've got to go around it, try and find another way, see if there's a detour. And so I'll spend probably the next 3 to 4 months having a look for another way. Maybe there's another specialist visa that I can apply for, or maybe there's another avenue to go down, maybe some sponsorship or something like that, where I can make better headroads into getting a visa to be able to travel freely. It must be horrible for people who don't have what we call our luxury of just being able to jump on a plane and go anywhere we want. British passport usually gives you that. The British passport opens a lot of doors.
Yeah,
you speak to a lot of people from Eastern Europe, and they're not allowed to travel to places. Full stop. So it's a given, not a right.
No, but you know what? I'm so glad you said what you said and just had that little speech, because there was positivity there and hope and defiance. You're not going to give up on it.
Yeah. Look, if you accepted no, every time somebody said it to you, you wouldn't still be in business.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And a friend of mine said that to me today, and it really hit home. He said, look, if there's no way we'd be trading for the last 50 years, Tony, if we accepted no every time somebody said it to us. And it really, okay, yeah, you're right, no. I do normally just accept it. Look, it's a no, it's a no, but there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Absolutely, yeah. Just pester and pester and pester, like you say.
We'll try again. I was a bit, the rug pulled from under my feet, but a little bit of Google detective work, like you do. Done my research. I've typed it into Google, and says that it's only the end of that application. It doesn't affect anything else. It doesn't. It doesn't ban you from anywhere. It's just that application is now ended. So if I want to start a new one, I can start a new one. So I just have to look for different ways now to achieve the same result, which is, it's what we do. It's what we do in life. It's what we do in business. It's definitely what we do in screen print. Because the amount of times I do, different method, same result. I spent last week at a place with old M&Rs, with the old pneumatic print drive, squeegee drive.
Yeah.
And, first of all, I'm like, this is not going to work. But it did. We got it working. With some WD-40, wish and a prayer. we actually did get it working. So, there's more than one way to do something.
Well, it's putting out fires, aren't we? Some fires are bigger than others.
Putting out fires and greasy wheels. I would. It's strange to say that. I was production manager for a lot of my career, and somebody asked me what I did. Because I had an office and I sat there and, people were like, what do you do? So basically I put out fires and grease wheels. That's really all I do.
Yeah.
I think it's true to, that's exactly what happens, is that we just try and keep things moving. And that's where we are now. And so in true keeping things moving tradition, I'm going to try something completely different.
Guinness without blackcurrant.
I'm going to try Guinness without fruit in it. I'm not. See, I'm a bitter drinker. I like bitter, so I should like this, shouldn't I? But I think I lost it.
You've never had a Guinness? Is this what you're telling me?
It must be 30, maybe 35 years ago since I had a taste and I thought it was rank. So you're about to see me taste a Guinness for real. And have I got to stop the drink there? Is that what I've got to try and do as well?
Do you know, I only heard that about 3 weeks ago at Christmas. First person who ever told me that. What a load of
I don't think I'll do that. I won't do that if it tastes rank, will I? So we'll go for it live.
It's beautiful Guinness. Oh, nearly.
Actually, it's nowhere near like I expected it to be.
I think it's an acquired taste. I think your first couple of Guinnesses, you're like, I'm only drinking this to be cool.
Actually, no, I thought it was really, really bitter. But I drink bitter or dark ale anyway. So it does have an acid taste, doesn't it?
If you could have John Smith's, that stuff is rancid.
Yeah, but this is like, I don't know, the aftertaste is like somebody's... It's like somebody sucked the outside of a licorice also and spat it back to you.
You do have to be careful what you're saying here. They're listening at the door.
I know, yeah. They're coming now. They're coming through the door. It's great. It's great. Oh, I love it. I think it's great.
You know what? Compliment it nicely. A little drop of blackcurrant.
No, I'm not doing that. No, that's sacrilege. There's a church over the road, and that alt lights come on if you put blackcurrant in it. Bell starts ringing.
People with pitchforks outside the door.
Yeah.
So
I've
you're
done
back
a full thing today. I've done so my appointment this morning at the consulate was in Belfast.
Right.
So Belfast is Northern Ireland. Now I will explain this slowly to you because I had to explain it to Michelle, and I thought everybody knew this. You know how the totally separate countries.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Southern Ireland is Europe basically, and Northern Ireland is England. And I fully expected a border crossing, passport inspection, stamp, the whole thing. Nope, just got up motorway. It's called M1 as well.
All right.
The motorway's M1, so that was confusing. And the only reason I knew I was in a different country was there was a sign that said the speed limit is now in miles per hour instead of kilometres per hour. Okay? Dead simple. So I went from 120 to 70. 120 kilometres an hour is
Where did you drive from Germany?
120 kilometres per hour. 120 kilometres per hour is about 72 miles per hour.
Yeah, but you said. All right, so it's now you're in kilometres.
It goes from kilometres, 120, down to 70 in miles. And when you're coming back, it goes from 70 miles an hour to 120 and your speed doesn't change.
Where did you drive from?
From Belfast to Dublin.
Oh, right, when you cross it. Oh, right, sorry. I thought driving from it. I thought you were comparing in. Right, I'm with you. All right.
No, I flew to Dublin.
Oh, did you? You didn't just drive over the ocean.
I flew. Yeah, my arms are aching from flying over.
Over North Sea bypass. Starts in Beverley. Good grief.
Yeah, I did come that way.
Right,
and it's Irish. It's Irish Sea. North Sea's at your side.
Oh well.
And then took a quick puddle jump on an aeroplane, which basically was so small, you only took 3 steps to get into it. I'm like, you know when it's got propellers? Oh, this is going to be fun. It's got propellers. Nice.
Right. Well, but first time you travelled in ages, wasn't
it? December, yeah. Last time when I got kindly escorted back from America.
Yeah. You got PTSD by getting on a plane again. I
know, yeah. Especially at border control. But again, border control over here, say I was getting into Europe, it was just a scam. It's just like, this is how it should be. This is what we should be doing.
Yeah.
We don't need to have stamps in passports anymore. Everything's electronic. Just scan your document and that's it, done.
Well, every time I've travelled, my wealth of travel experience that I've gathered of it past 2 years, they've got these scanners. You put your passport in and it scans it.
Is it 2 now?
Yeah, but there and back, so that makes it 4. But they have these scanners, don't they? And you put your passport and it scans it, and then off you top. But every single time I've gone, they've just been sat there with a sign saying out of order. So you have to go to a bloke who looks at you and says, "Yeah, stamp."
So when coming back into England, if you've got an English passport, you just swipe it. Right. And they're always working for me at Manchester.
Maybe I got
going to Europe, our politicians insisted that we have a stamp put in our passport on entry and exit, which means it's impossible to scan. And it was us, it was the GB politicians that actually demanded it. That's why you get, as an English person, you get treated as a second-class citizen in Europe now because you have to go down a different road.
Yeah. There's always a queue that looks quite.
Whereas before, you could just scan, jump on a plane, scan, done.
Yeah. Anyway, never mind. So you're here now. You got a few shops planned in whilst you're here?
No, just one. Friend of the show, Flex.
God bless him.
I'm going to go see him tomorrow. Then back home, and then I'm back on a plane again to Stuttgart.
Oh, nice. Oh, well, it's so nice to hear that you're getting about a little bit more now.
Yeah, I've got a few now, sort of like in the pipeline. I won't be going to America for considerable, which I spoke to Bryce this morning and Christina and Mike, and they're all like, "Oh no, what are we going to do? This is terrible." I'm like, we'll get through it. You coped without me before, you'll cope without me again. And then Stuttgart. So I'm going to Stuttgart to the show. There's a show in Stuttgart. It's called Textile. TV Textile. TV, TEC Style.
All right.
It's a show I've been to loads. I think it's the first European show I ever went to as a printer.
Ah.
So we were looking for a cleaning machine, a machine that cleans screens.
Yeah.
Back in, I left in 2016, so it must be about 2012, around about 2012 time. And of course, we ring up Potter. We ring up JFP, and he says, "All right, okay, well, the best place to look at these things is a show in Stuttgart, where they're still showing machinery, unlike Printwear and Promotion, which has got no machinery anymore. This show still has machinery. So, see, the best thing you can do, because it's this show, the exhibition is pretty much in the airport.
All right.
The exhibition hall, the Messe, is in the airport. It's like 200 meters walk. So it's
That's
like
class. So
yes.
Cecil.
Yeah, so it was basically the three of us, the owner, the owner's son, and me, jumped in a car, drove down to. I just got to remember. It's the day I stopped smoking.
Is that right? Bloody
This show is the day I stopped smoking, so it is February 2012.
Wow.
Because I drove down in a Bentley GT Continental.
Really?
And I didn't have the heart to light up a cig in this
inside this beautiful classic
Bentley
car.
GT Continental.
Why did you drive in a car like that? What?
He loved them. He lent me it for 2 weeks. I'm like, I put it on my estate. People thought I was doing drugs. It was just untrue. you can't drive it. It's like 3.5 ton of pure pleasure.
Oh,
and I'm not a car person, but if money were no object, that's what I'd buy.
Wow.
And I'd been taking these tablets to stop me from smoking, and they weren't working, but I was trying. And in the back of the Bentley, it's like, well, I can't have a cigarette in here. Got to the hotel because we were staying overnight in Stansted, flying to Stuttgart, and then flying back the same day, which I thought were very sort of, jet set cosmopolitan. I'm like, get an aeroplane, coming back same day. So the hotel we stayed at was also non-smoking. And I didn't have a cigarette in the hotel. And then we get to the airport. That's non-smoking. Didn't have one there. Get to the airport. And by the time I get to Stuttgart... Well, by the time I get to Stuttgart, it's -11. It's blowing a freezing cold wind. And I try and smoke a roll-up. I go and tap a roll-up off John Potter and his mate.
Were you a roll-up smoker?
I won't know, but I haven't smoked anything. So I thought I'll try it. And in the Messe, you couldn't smoke there, so everybody was going to this patio, and you go to this patio, it's -11, who lights this cigarette, and I took a drag of this cig, and as I looked at it, shivering, it went out. It was that fucking cold. And I looked around, there's about 10 blokes all sat there going like this.
Yeah.
I thought, what am I doing? This is crazy. Put the cig out, that's the last time I touched one. That's how I remember it. And we went to go see if we could see at the time they were like a dishwasher. So it took 5 screens. You put 5 screens in, closed the door, locked it. All the flashing lights came on like something out of Chernobyl. and then it made loads of noise, and it washed your screens in like a spinning dishwasher.
Oh, wow.
Didn't buy
I'm
it. Thought
guessing
it
this
crap.
was just kind of just power wash, bit of chemical, all in one chamber.
Yeah.
Because now we've got
Yeah,
a million different chambers, haven't we? So I guess.
Yeah, no, this was just one box that you put them in. So you dip tank,
Yeah.
and then,
Right,
stacked them, and then it power washed it. Yeah, it were basic back then.
Was it
It's still
festive?
going though. Yeah, still going. You might have heard of them. I think they were Impro.
Yeah.
Still going. Anyway, we didn't buy it. We looked around the show, which were great, and then next day, same day, flew back. And I'm going to that show again to have a look at some automation. I'm trying to get my teeth into automation, Danny.
Just across the board in every aspect of a business, trying to bring automation in a lot more machinery-wise.
I think we've done that with pre-press. I think pre-press is done. We've automated it as far as it can go.
Right.
This is driven from my visit to Down to Go Custom. And if you remember, I've still got a video on my phone where we did the perfect pre-press shop. I've got one guy, and at one side he's stripping all the screens. We walk through, he's got the auto coater, spider, 3 drying cabinets, auto developer, and he's doing 120 to 180 screens a day, and he's chilled. He's just relaxed.
Yeah, no stress.
And that side of this department, which was servicing 3 autos and 4 manuals.
Yeah.
That side was just stress-free, completely and utterly stress-free. So, and that, it got me thinking, well, if we can do it in that area, what's the most manual thing that we do at the other side, at the actual print press?
Yeah.
Putting the shirts on, taking the shirts off, catching at the end of the dryer.
Yeah.
So there is a machine that catches at the end of the dryer.
Yeah, I've seen.
I was in Belgium.
It's like a platform that just goes.
It comes down, comes out, then goes back. Comes down, comes out, then goes back. It's a stacker. It's been around for a long time. They're a bit expensive, and I didn't think anybody were interested. And I was in Belgium about a month ago, and he had one at the end of his dryer.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's great. I'll take some photos. He went, no, I'd rather you didn't. I said, come on, they've been out a while. I've actually got them from the manufacturer. I was going to actually facilitate selling them in the UK at one bit. I might go back to that. He said, yeah, but I prefer nobody knew about them. So why? Because they're really good, and I don't want anybody else to catch up to me.
Oh.
I'm like, okay. And he was doing tea towels.
Yeah,
now, for the tea towels, it was perfect for the tea towels.
Yeah, it is.
And bags. Tea towels and bags, it is perfect for. And so, let's say we automate that. Then we've got top of the dryer. Taking the shirts off. Now, M&R built the Passport, must be 25 years ago. It must be. Yeah. This is the machine that grabs 4 grippers, come in, lift the shirt, pull it from the glue, flick it across and drop it on the dryer. You've got to have cutouts in your pallets. It stretches it from the glue, so it's not sensitive, and it's blind. It's basically it's you taking shirts off your press with your eyes shut.
Yeah, it is.
You wouldn't do it. You wouldn't dream of it. Famously, there's a famous printer in Leicester who at the show, at one of these shows in America, walked around and went, "That's a credit note machine. That look at this credit note machine. Look at this credit note machine. Buy one of these. It makes credit notes. Every time it pulls a shirt off, it's a credit note. You have to give your money back because it's not looking at what it's doing." And you're sort of I have to sort of agree with him. And last year, if you remember, at FESPA, the MHM guys brought out the aptly called shirt lifter.
I remember that one. The old shirt lifter.
The old shirt lifter, which basically removes the shirt from the glue without stretching, without damaging. And I was speaking to these 2 guys, and they were really interested. They're really young guys that have come up with the press. And I said, look, it's great, but it's dumb. It's blind. You can't see anything. What do you mean?
It's cack-handed.
So he's cack-handed. So we started to come up with a solution of, how can we get a camera to do this, to compare it to a PDF, to have a strike off and have an 80%, 90%, 100% comparison rate, basically. And they said, well, we can do that. And so they've done it. And it will be at the TV Textile show in Stuttgart. And I want to see it running. Now, it'll be running on bags, which are easy to handle. But if this concept, it's almost proof of concept. If this concept works of getting a machine to replace the physical taking off of the shirt, I think this could be the start of almost a revolution in automation of the actual physical process.
Yeah, I mean, I think something like that needs to go hand in hand with, I think we called it the magic eye, something that's fault checking as the process unfolds. So it's almost like it's got the artwork preloaded. It's watching it, and if there's a inconsistency, whole thing stops.
It's not the artwork; it's your first strike off.
Yeah, so it looks at your strike off.
First strike off, say right, collect, take a picture. Everything that comes off must be within 80%, 90%, 100%, whatever the number is.
Yeah, there's going to need to be a tolerance.
Yeah. Of customers' commercial tolerance. The word that we don't like, but commercially acceptable.
Yeah. Well, it's a phrase, but we can all apply a percentage to it, and the percentage is the important bit. Some of us can be a bit slack on that percentage, 10%, whatever. And it's up to us, isn't it? But I think that would be...
I'm interested in that, so I'm going over to investigate that to its absolute full extreme and see if we can help make that more of a viable option. I don't think if we're handling finished garments, presenting or loading finished garments is difficult. It's hard to do. But if you look at the Cornet Apollo, they've solved the problem.
Just explain that bit to me again. Loading finished garments.
So,
so you mean an actual T-shirt?
An actual T-shirt, yeah.
The sheet
panel.
and material.
I would say 60% of our industry. Yeah, I'm going to go 60% of our industry on numbers. Probably not on number of people, but number of prints is done on panels. So pieces of fabric before they go to be made into another garment. Yeah. When you're using a flat piece of panel, it's easy to get a machine to lift it and drop it, lift it and drop it, lift it and drop it, because it's in the same place every time. It's been stacked in the same place every time. You know full well. You open a box of even AS Colour and you stack them on the table as OCD as you are, they're not all perfect on that stack because they don't need to be. And it would be difficult to get them all exactly perfect. And when something's blind is picking something up, it's hard to do that. So actually loading a garment, I think, I'd hate to use the word impossible, but it would be exceptionally difficult.
It's going to need to use momentum and speed. And maybe even some sort of fan that's, the grabbers have got like a fan that's blowing it open, to come up with that type of concept.
That. Yeah, that.
It's blowing it open, speed and momentum, hooks it over. Because if it's hooking in a straight line, it's just a case of pulling it back and dropping it. So it's on, drop, done.
But if you do a quick Google on the Cornet Apollo, this is their $1 million machine that does DTG. And you pick your shirt up, open at the bottom, you open it with your little fan, and you present those two bits to the machine. The machine grabs it off you, drags it in, puts it down where it's supposed to be, loads it perfectly.
Wow, that's really impressive. I mean, that's sort of...
That's semi-automatic.
Halfway there.
You still have to present it. But your placement of the garment on the pallet is taken out your hands now. A computer does it, so it has to be in the right place.
Ooh, I'm going to have to have a look at that.
Yeah, I saw it in Vespa. Now, I don't mean to run Cornet down, but it wasn't working at the show very well. But basically, this $1 million machine took a shirt from you. It went through the system. It was pre-treated, printed, dried, barcoded, bagged, and deposited at the other end.
Yeah.
And nobody touched it. The only person to touch it was the guy holding the shirt open, so that when you hold the shirt open and push it on, he was the only guy to touch it. It then came out in a bag. So I love that. I love that idea, that concept, that notion that we can get to one person.
I love that. I think it's going to be demographic based because, as we know, you can the Middle East people power so inexpensive, whereas for us it's such a premium. So you might.
I think they're getting more expensive though, and people are not perfect.
Well, there's that as well. I suppose it's not just about money all the time, is it? Sometimes.
No, you can train a machine to put it in the same place every time and work it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Oh, yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair argument. We'll lap that up.
Yeah. So I like the idea of it. And then
you know what I like the idea of? I like the idea that as one door closes, another door opens. And maybe this door that's just closed on you has opened this door for you, and you might find yourself going on a slightly different path.
I had this with my mum this morning while she was wiping my tears.
I wonder what you're going to say then. At your age, not learned that already.
It's like a crayon, just keeps coming. And she's like, you know, as long as she's known me, I've always had this 5-year plan thing in my head, and I haven't had a 5-year plan for the last year and a half. Yeah. And she says it's probably fate that you've not, you know, the universe knew you shouldn't be planning for the next 5 years. I'm like, oh, all right, Mum, keep taking your medication.
She's been speaking too early for that type of talk. Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, let's take this automation and sort of let's run with it. Let's see if we can't. I'm at this place, and it's very similar to places I've been. Plus, I was there 2 years ago, so it's great to go back to a place and see changes, especially changes that I wrote down.
Yeah.
And they said they were, you know, it's helping their life. Like every place, the most expensive part of producing a T-shirt, whether it's a school leaver 25 or whether it's for a 10,000 run for a brewery, it's the people. You know, if you put 3 people on a press, when I was at the height of managing people and working out wages and pay rises, I would pay £4.5 to £5 an hour for my top person, and it was hard to get them to justify how much work they turned out. And I would whip them like mad to go, you know, you must hit 3,000, otherwise it's not worth it. Now that wage is now 15 easy, and as you go further south in England, it's closer to, it will cost you £30,000 to £35,000 to employ someone with the national insurance, the tax, all the crap that goes with it. And that's a lot of money. If you put 3 of them round a press, that's like $100,000 a year as a cost. That's not how much your press cost you. You know how much your press cost you, and you've got to pay for that until your dying day. And now we've got to put $100,000 a year every year that it's operating into it as well.
Just to have a handful of staff. Yeah. You
know, $100,000 a year, and I have to print a lot of 50p T-shirts for that.
Yeah,
that's 200,000 50p T-shirts. That's not to make money. That's just to pay the wages. They might pay the electric and the gas and all that crap.
Yeah.
So if we can reduce that cost by using automation, I think there's a gap in the market for it, and I'd love to be involved in it because I'm obsessed with it. The only thing is, I'm not technically minded.
No, but you've got the experience, and you've got the. Maybe you couldn't go build one in your garage. You'd only sit there even if you did. To be fair.
No, but I know.
But you've got. There's nobody better to sort of help somebody who is technically minded.
I know lots of people who are. Yeah, I know lots of people who can build it but don't know what it needs to do. So I can work
yes,
very closely with people like that, and I'm going over to Stuttgart to help do that. And in fact, I was telling a customer of mine exactly that, and they went, "Right, I'll book a ticket now. I'll meet you there."
yeah.
Oh,
Wow,
hang on,
flipping
I
now.
haven't seen it yet. No, I'm
Yeah.
interested. We'll go for it. Which means people are interested. So,
Oh, I mean, it's a bit. It reminds me a bit of the laser. I won't say the brand, but the laser that we saw, and we were like, "Wow, this has got so much potential."
which one?
But should I say the word? Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor. Yeah, it's a Lex Luthor laser. I like that. I know which one you mean now.
The only barrier there is there's a lack of. They're not very receptive to feedback with sounds of things.
Well, it only works in Switzerland, basically.
Yeah.
if it's straightforward 20 degrees and 40% humidity, it works. Anything outside that range, it don't work. But
Yeah, I mean, if that machine had some feedback from printers applied, that'd be a tremendous tool for those who could afford it. But so hopefully,
yeah, and it is.
Going.
Look, laser's coming. Laser is absolutely, definitely coming. You cannot. If your wax machine, inkjet machine, posi printer had broken now, you would be foolish to buy a wax printer now. You'd be foolish to buy an inkjet direct-to-screen machine now, because the technology is between 10 and 15 years old. It's run its course. Kiwo, the three main manufacturers of the three, one of them is Kiwo, who make the wax jet. It was Kiwo, Dalfit, and Exile.
Yeah.
Kiwo have discontinued it. They've now stopped making that unit.
Oh,
They've realised it has run its course. It was fantastic. It was ace, but it's done its course now.
Yeah.
And so we've only left with Exile and Dalfit now making these wax jet printers direct to emulsion.
And Kiwo have moved on to laser.
Yes, they've gone to laser. Now, interesting, they've gone to DMD chip. They've got to DMD chip, so that needs looking at a bit more. I'm not 100% convinced, but so the three types of laser, when we're talking laser to screen, are raster plate.
Right.
It takes some explaining what raster plate is. I'm making it a mission over the next couple of weeks or month to try and get this explanation down to explain it to a 5-year-old.
Is it a bit like a bunch of straws? And then
I'm a big believer in is if you can't explain it to a 5-year-old, you don't understand it yourself. So, and I held my hand up. I don't quite understand it. I've done some research on it. I'm sort of into it, but basically, it's putting it through a. You say a bunch of straws. It's a plate with holes in, and those holes are 8x8, and they represent like a pixel bit, which is 8x8, which is either on or off. That's one style, the raster plate. The other style is the array, which is 128 little lights that turn on and off as the bar moves.
Yeah.
And the other is DMD chip, which is DMD, something mirror diode. Direct mirror diode or digital mirror diode, which basically, instead of turning the light on and off, it reflects the light on a mirror. So the light is constantly on. So there's no control to turn the light on. It's being reflected from a mirror. And when you apply charge to the mirror, it moves it 1 degree, which means it's no longer reflecting. You can't see the light.
Right.
So it's reflecting there at 0 and it's not reflecting at 1.
So it almost reflects.
That's your 1-bit TIFF that you send to your printer device. Like your inkjet printer either releases a droplet or it doesn't, 0 and 1.
Yeah.
This either allows light to be reflected or doesn't. That's your DMD chip. There's advantages and disadvantages to both, but basically the DMD chip's cheaper, but doesn't last as long. But when I say long, we're talking 10,000 hours, which your average screen printer will be about 5 years.
10,000 hours. What you saying? You're saying they need to be replaced?
Yeah. They probably need to be replaced. They have a life of about 10,000 hours. But you think what 10,000 hours is, and that's at full usage, and they get turned on and off.
Yeah. I think the big thing is when we see lasers come down in price.
Yeah,
But
they will.
competition's key to that. If you're saying we've got 3 manufacturers who are focusing on laser now, the more we focus on it, the more we develop, the more we, to be honest, try to undercut each other. The better it is for us. Because I know
we win. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the minute, like, it's a bigger pipe dream for me to get a laser unit, but it
the
want to get
press.
the press, you know.
Well, it's more
Way
expensive.
bigger.
It's probably twice the cost of a press.
Yeah.
And whenever it's in that range, it's not for us. It's for the guys who've got 2 to 3 to 4 semis, automatics.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
When they come down a little bit,
if we're honest, but it's, you know.
But a spider's 60 grand.
Oh, I know. Well, even
So,
out of my budget range for any time soon.
But you will. The advantage of this, you will see a lot more used spiders coming around on the market.
Yeah, true.
As people upgrade, so they've gone from inkjet printer and film up to a spider. Thought it was great, then they've gone to a laser. So the spider's of no use now. So I think you'll see a lot of those on the market.
What do you think? Is D2M a threat? Is it going to be going somewhere, or are we just writing it off already?
What a great question. So D2M as a concept, direct to a mesh, where you print the emulsion rather than masking out the light.
Yeah.
Has all the advantages that we want. There is no darkroom, there's no chemicals, there's no safe light, there's lots of advantages. I predict it's 3 to 5 years away from being useful.
Yeah. I believe it's more than one machine on market now as well.
It's basically, think 3D printing. 3D printing where you've got a nozzle and it extrudes stuff. Well, this nozzle is extruding emulsion, or is extruding a light-sensitive blocker. And it's putting it in the places it should be and not putting it in the places it shouldn't. And I like the idea of it, and it's great. But the one thing we really love in our industry about screens is they are reusable. They are not a one-off.
Yeah.
We reclaim. If you think, right, I don't know whether anybody does this. I don't know whether you do it or not. I'll have to remember. I'll have to look at the invoice when you charge me or not. on screen charge.
Yeah,
there used to be a screen charge. Now, in the high end of commercial printing, because there's so many colours involved and so much messing around, the average price was 20 to 25 quid.
Yeah.
And this was almost to encourage people from making petty changes. It was to make sure that people were committed to doing the print run. But a 10 colour job required a £200 investment from the customer.
Oh yeah.
Now, if I've charged a customer 20 quid to make the screen, and I did the maths, I'll have to redo it because it was a while ago. I put around about £3.75 into making a screen. That's emulsion and time and water and power. So if I've charged a customer 20 quid, I've made £16.50, £16.25. That screen then, I print the job, it goes away. Next customer comes along, and I put his image on there and charge him 20 quid, make another 16.75, 16.25. And now that physical frame screen has been paid for.
Oh yeah, it only takes a handful of jobs before it's paid, done its job.
But I want to keep it for 10 years. That screen, I don't want to get rid of it now because I'm tired. I'm from Yorkshire. So the screens have been paid for, but we like to get maximum usage out of them. Again, the place I was last week.
Yeah, we can be a bit tight about it.
We put little strips of tape on them, and
yeah. I have a pretty strict knife policy. If there's anything, knife goes straight to it.
But most people don't do that. If you've got 1,000 screens, you can't afford to do that every week.
No, don't get me wrong. I don't do it every week. But what I'm saying is, I mean, I've had a rack of screens, brand new, freshly remeshed for my mate at Screen Machine. That was free. Not even sponsored.
That was the free wink from
a
Danny.
free wink. I don't give free winks out often.
Chris Hales, Screen Machine Supply Company, a free one.
And I've had a box come, and literally the second to stick it out, I've caught corner of a frame on a brand new mesh and popped it, or not even popped it, put the tiniest of little holes, and then it's like, nah, cut it up, chuck it to one side, it'll go with next batch. It's just not worth it. Like you say, the screens are kind of inexpensive when you, like you say, if you're charging 20, 25 quid setup every time, you only need 4 or 5 uses out of it before that screen's paid for, and then it's done its job. And it's always good to get 20, 30, 40 jobs out of a screen. It's in an ideal world, but worst case, if that's not the case, don't just hold on to it, tape it up for grim depth, or put a bit of nail polish over pinholes and stuff, because it'll only bite you eventually.
It does, yeah, it does, and the tension goes and shit. But yeah, we do like to get as much as we can out of them. And the problem with direct to mesh D2M is the chemical that they're using to block the holes is UV curable because it's curing as it prints.
Yeah,
but it's not reclaimable. There isn't a chemical that eats it.
I did not know that part of this.
So this is the main
quite a lot.
This is the main issue with it. Now, the manufacturer will say it is reclaimable. You just use a very high pressure jet wash.
Yeah, you just blast the crap out of it. But then
and that's true. You do.
Blast the crap out of it, but then you've lost your tension.
Then eventually you'll lose your tension. Yeah, I'm going to see if I've got a light in it. It's getting very dark by the time.
It's atmospheric.
It is, yeah. Romantic almost.
Like a candle.
Yeah. It's going to have to stay romantic because I can't find a light.
I hadn't noticed, to be honest. Mine was pitch black pretty much, but camera's really good at it adjusts as it goes, this camera.
Well, my camera's getting fuzzy because it's not light enough.
That's the ISO adjusting.
That's what made me notice. But I always carry a light with me. I thought, oh no, I'll take it out today and don't actually need it.
That's typical. You usually have a little ring light, don't you?
I've got it, but it's fucking dead.
It's flat. Well, it's been 6 months, Tony, hasn't it? It's 6 months since we needed it.
Yeah.
We'll manage, Tony, lad. We'll manage.
I'll be rubbing it in. So I've been working for a while.
I'm not bitter about it, though.
Oh, no.
No. Do you know what? It's good to. You've got to have a bit of a break sometimes, haven't you? And you've got to come back fresh and start with a new positive attitude.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm obsessed with this automation thing. I've been for a long time, believe it or not. I think it's going to be great for not only the industry but for me. And I want to put it to DTF. So even though we don't like DTF, we can't ignore it. It is here. It's here to stay. Yeah, it's not going to go away. It's not going to fizzle away. It's not going to go away. It is here to stay. I think it's going to embrace it.
Controversial opinion. It's booming right now. It's just going to.
I got asked to do a job last week, and as soon as I looked at the job, I went, DTF.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I said a DTF job all day long. This is a beer. Like, you know, the on the beer pump, you get those little labels.
Yeah.
Like that. It was I think it was a band called Violet Row or something, and the text was super fine. The detail was super fine. It was a big, bright white area with reversed out blue text, some little tiny 0.1 point lines, which were really difficult to print. And I actually said, this should be DTF. Oh, well, you're here, Tony. Can you teach the guys how to print this? Honestly, I don't think I'm going to make it look good. It looks fantastic on computer screen.
Yeah.
But it is not going to look like that when I print it. And, I'm not going to print it bad, and I'm going to print it acceptable, but it's not going to look like that.
Yeah.
And so I printed it. I took a strike off. And yeah, we were all right. I didn't mind it. It was okay. not my proudest moment, but it was all right. And at the same time, we got a DTF print done and pressed that.
And it looked mega.
Fucking superb, absolutely superb.
You
I
know
couldn't
me,
compete. I couldn't compete with it. But DTF suited that print on that product at that time.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
and
time,
we
it's time and
aren't.
place.
We're not always printers. We're garment decorators, and people trust us to pick the best method of decoration for that garment.
Yeah,
And
you have to sometimes forget that, don't you?
yeah, we get sort of caught up in the fact that it must be screen printed. We're a screen print artist. You know, we're crafty. We can do this, and there's no light in this building at all.
It's
It's
fine,
slowly getting
Tony.
darker. I'm like, I can't even see.
It's fine.
And yeah, we forget sometimes that people trust us.
I must admit, though, there was a time where I took that approach where, Jesus Christ. Christ. Don't do that to me again. Good grief. Pain in my chest.
Oh dear.
There was a time where I tried to take that approach. So I thought, you know what? We are just garment decorators. People come to us and ask for T-shirts, and it's up to us to give them the print type that best suits that job and gets the job done.
They trust us to decorate that garment in the best method possible.
Yeah,
that's what we do.
I did that, and I got them DTF'd. And they came and said, no, we don't want this. We want screen print. I've always had screen print. I know how it feels. I know what it looks like. I like it. And they actually got the money back for the job. And that was the one time I sort of thought, you know what, DTF's going to do this much better. Save so much hassle. I'm just going to run with it. And yeah, it bit me on the ass. So they could
You've
tell.
had one bad experience, yeah. I mean, I don't know whether the customer accepted this, but I said, look, send the customer the screen print and the DTF, and ask the customer what they want, what they prefer, because we recommend this decoration type, process. If you don't like it, then okay, we can. This is what you're going to get if we go screen print. It was a 6-colour job. It was hard as hell. It was tight registration. It required 2 flashes. And, you know, I knew from the off, this is going to be difficult. This is not going to be easy.
Yeah.
And I did I actually did the print and showed it to the production manager, who doesn't print. It's just a production manager. He just manages departments.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, right, okay, yeah. So is that it? Is that what we're going to end up with? Yeah. And are you saying that? I mean, that's shit, Tony. Are you saying that's as good as you're going to get? And I thought it was good.
Shit.
I know that's as good as you're going to get. So it's totally shit, isn't it? I'm like, I don't think it's totally shit. You get all defensive. What do you mean it's totally shit?
Get me caught. I'm going.
Yeah.
We'll not tolerate this insult.
So, DTF would have worked a hell of a lot better. But it's down to the customer to decide that, not me. The hell do I know?
Well, it has its place. It's a compliment to the industry. 100% agree with that. I just think there's a boom happening. I think because it's so accessible, it's going to dilute. It's going to cause skill dilution. It's going to cause a rat race to bottom on price, which you're already seeing. You only have to open Images magazine and look at this.
Seven quid a metre, I think now. 7 quid a metre.
Yes. I mean, at that point, you're like, why am I going to go buy a DTF machine? Why would I?
Yeah, I'd probably. Let me just sort this one out.
Good grief!
Going darker. It's getting
Jesus,
darker and darker. What?
You couldn't have made this any more of a Chippy Tea episode if you tried.
Yeah.
In fact, I think you are trying, aren't you? I'm pretty sure you are.
I'm trying to find all the lights I can possibly get. I've even got fucking light.
Do you know what? I'm gonna put cherry on top. I'm gonna go for a wee, unless you mess about.
How's that? That's better.
That's better, but I'm off for a wee now. You
Oh,
stress
for
me
God's sake. It's been an
out.
hour.
Stress me out, Tony. It's coming out. End of story.
I'll just sit and talk to me then, shall I? Nice ceiling rose.
Right.
You do
Come
know
on,
you're
camera.
at home. You
I'm
do know
here.
you're at home now,
Come
don't
down. Come back.
you?
Oh, it's a bloody tracking feature.
Slowly, that's it.
You know I'm at home now.
Yeah, so we can actually hear you weeing now.
Oh, did you hear that?
You know, when you went downstairs before and into 3 different rooms away, you were fine. But this time we can actually hear it.
that part episode will be on the OnlyFans exclusive content. You got to pay for that. If anybody wants it for a ringtone, I'll do it for £4 a pop. I'll send you a WAV file.
Like a WAS file.
Yeah, a WAS file. A WAS file. Good God.
So
you're in
Where
Ireland,
were
then,
we?
yeah?
Did I let you know?
Yeah.
So let's just take the automation thing and run with it crazy in our heads for a bit. DTF. Automation, DTF. Imagine we are currently printing, powdering, and curing are all in line.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it prints, it powders, it cures.
Yeah, that aspect's sort of...
That's automated. Can't do anything about that. Then it comes out on a roll.
Anywhere with that.
So it comes out on a roll. There is a cutter where it comes out of the roll and it goes into a laser cutter, plotter, that cuts.
Yeah, that's pretty old technology. I'm sure that exists.
It is old technology. It is available now. It uses the cut file that you used in the print file. Same as when you had your Roland, when you had your Mamaki. Exactly the same.
Same technology, I imagine.
Yeah, with the cut for turbo cut marks, I think they are. Then we look at Ricardo's Columbia machine, which picks up these transfers, places them where you're supposed to place them, presses them, and peels the transfer off.
Yeah.
And then you end up, and then you look at the passport type machine, which pulls the shirt off the press, even though it's a heat press.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we have currently all of the components to make a machine that you will stand with one operator and it will spit out transfer printed shirts.
At a high volume.
A very high
volume. Same volume as screen print. The equal screen print, because it's a carousel operation.
The Columbia automatic heat press does 360 an hour.
Yeah.
That's finished garments of any design, heat pressed and done. And then we go further, we put it with a stacker or a folder that's got barcodes on it. And all of a sudden we've got a little mini t-shirt factory that only has one operator. Now, granted, it's not screen print. It's digital, applying digital transfers. But if Cornick can take the DTG aspect and do that, then why can't we replace the actual spraying of the ink on the garment with applying a transfer that we know is of the right size and the right orientation in the right place? Because the computer decides where it goes. It's not beyond the realms of possibility.
No, it's not. It's not. It'd be a dying shame for that to take off.
You'll still want your screen print shop in Brid, don't worry. There will always be a demand for a screen print shop. I'm not saying it's going to replace. What I'm saying is automation can help the process, not replace it.
Yeah, but if you could just specifically apply your talents to screen print automation and not accelerate the DTF takeover, that'd be ideal.
You can't deny DTFs here. You've got to embrace it.
I know. It's a tool. And they're all tools at the end of the day, aren't they?
I've said this many times. The reason that DTF is popular is nothing to do with the startup price. It's nothing to do with the ease of operation. It's not even to do with the products that we're buying. It's to do with the order quantity of T-shirts ordered now.
Yeah.
If you went to a garment decorator 30 years ago, you were talking in the thousands. Their minimum order quantity was thousands. Now, if you go to a garment decorator, you know this as much as I do. We will set up a print press for 10 pieces. Because if we don't get the work.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I used to do, but I know what you're saying. 20, 25 pieces. It's like...
Let's say, can you imagine a minimum, if all of the printers in the UK just suddenly said, right, okay, minimum order quantity is 3,000 to set up a press. And you'd ask the question, why? Because we can't make any money for doing less.
Yeah.
All of our money is spent getting the design to press. That first shirt that comes off, we've invested all the money in that first shirt that comes off. That's why you pay. You don't pay per print. You pay. It cost me 500 quid to get that first print off. Now I'm going to divide that 500 quid across the next 500 shirts. So the shirts cost £1. Well, it doesn't cost you £1 to print one. No, it cost me 500 quid to get the first one off.
Yeah.
That's why it's so expensive, because I had to employ someone, buy all this equipment, make the film, make the artwork, make the screen. All that work I had to do. I don't get paid for that. I only get paid when the squeegees move. So if I've put 500 quid down to get that print off, if you only want one, it's 500 quid. If you want 500, they're £1 each.
It falls...
A quid, just for anybody listening in America, a quid is a fictional monetary value that we in England think is worth something. It was about approximately 1 Mars bar.
Yeah. A bit more than
Snickers.
$1 and a bit. $1 and a couple of nickels. I think it sort of plays back into the automation a little bit. Is there a need now? Is the industry going in a direction where the more we can automate the machines, which basically means we need less people power, bringing our costs down? The better. Is that the direction we're going? Are we trying?
I think
we're
so.
seeing more and more one-man machine presses. Like, that is a thing. I mean, mine's a one-man press. There's a rock one-man press. There's lots of one-man presses now.
Yeah. Because that's the business model. The business model of the low end, below 500 pieces, is the only way I can make money. I can't afford to put 3 people on a press that's only producing 30 pieces. Because it's only those 30 pieces actually take 2 revolutions of my press, 3 revolutions of my press. Well, it takes 1 minute and 30 seconds for 1 revolution. So I'm down at 4.5 minutes in production time. But actually, I've put physical man hours, probably about 3 man hours into that print. But the way it's worked out, the way the system's rigged, is that I only actually get paid for those 3 revolutions of the press. So we've been obsessed for years now to try and make those pauses between revolutions smaller and smaller. So instead of waiting an hour to set up, now we're waiting 15 minutes to set up. And that's how we think we can get the most out of the press. Well, I think we've hit peak. We can't. We honestly, the places I go to, there's no wasted time. There's no lost labour. People are, there's nobody asleep anywhere. Everybody's working their tits off. And still,
you're redundant, then, aren't you, at the minute? If that's where we are. If that's where we are, your job's redundant anyway. You might as well.
No, they're working the tits off, just not doing it very well.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, it's everybody's working as hard as they possibly can. There are efficiencies to be gained, but they're in the small percentages now. They're not in the big percentages as they were before. I keep harking back to the old days when there were 6 people on a press. We'd have the only way we could train printers, and we realised back in John Green days, I'm going back to the 1980s, 88, 89, we realised that we didn't have enough people to run the second shift, and we knew we'd have to do a second shift. So we doubled up on the press. Right, you're an apprentice. What's my job? Just shadow the printer. How long? 3 months, as long as it takes. So my only job for 3 months was just to basically go and get the bacon sarnies for the printer.
Yeah, but
I was his bitch.
Take it in, good way to start, isn't it? I could do with a bitch. That's something on cars, to be fair. You know what I mean?
But you can't afford one.
Exactly. This is what we were talking about, people power and the cost of it. My dilemma this year, and the 5-year plan. I want to move on. I want to grow. I want people power to help me get where I need to go. But every time I look at it and I think, well, I could take someone else on now. And then I look at them and I think, well, that's 35 grand.
Every year, whether they work or not.
Yeah. And you know what people are like. They're
assholes.
Yeah. Just, yeah. You can't trust them and rely on them, can you? So it's a very difficult... I think I'm at a crossroads now where I'm a one-man band pretty much, with a bit of help, obviously. But I'm a one-man band. I'm running a shop where there's enough work coming in to keep me busy, to keep me paid, to keep the bills paid. And we're plodding on, happy as Larry. But if I want to take that next step, it's almost like I'll have to take a big jump. It'll be very costly. It'll take a lot of effort. And the fall, if it goes tits up, it's even bigger than it ever has been. But
and it is your profits, and the reason you're doing this is profit. It's not a dirty word in profit. It's great. It's the reason you're doing it. You want the house. You want to pay for the house that you're sat in now. You want the nice things. You want to go on holidays. These things are good. They're not bad things to have.
Well, that's why you do it, isn't it?
If you set someone else on, you're giving that away to someone else.
I know, but in basic terms, though, if you pay someone 30 grand, they should make you 40, 50, 60 grand.
And that's the hard bit, making sure that they do.
And on theory and on paper, it all makes sense. But in practice, they have sick days. Or they just
It's December. There's no work. They come in late. They leave early. There's not a lot to do.
Thing
and you
well.
Still pay them 30 grand.
Well, here's another factor which is quite relevant to me at the moment. Work don't come through the door consistently. For most of the year, it's all right. We have really busy periods. We have periods where it's all right. Right now, absolute dip. My inbox is quiet as hell. It's actually winding me up a bit at the moment. I had a really good January. I remember last week of January, start of February, just absolutely dead. Not heard a peep from anybody. And it's frustrating because I've got to pay Annie to I'm having to think of things for Annie to do. She's quite efficient. She's got my screens all washed, all coated, all the jobs that I've got to do in the rack. And then I'm like, well, can you go dust that or something? I don't know. I'm running out of stuff.
Paint this floor again. By the time you're done painting floor, your head's going to be touching the ceiling.
It's like Nelly Elephant at the minute. There's that many patches of different paints on it. Jeez. Remember Nelly Elephant?
No, I'm not old enough.
You liar. So what's your feeling at the minute? Have you got your ear to the ground? Because I know you've had a bit of a downer on printing, but have you had your ear to the ground? What is the general feeling at the moment in terms of people busy? Are people busy?
No.
Is everybody quiet?
I would say this is the worst period in screen print that I've known since in the last 39 years. We are at the lowest point. Yeah, we are at the lowest point. There's a printer in Leicester, has 11 presses. That would make him the second biggest in the UK. He's just closed. No, he didn't go bankrupt. He just closed.
Shows it was a tactical decision.
Chose to close. There's no money in this anymore. I'm done. No money in this anymore. I'm done. Wow. Yeah, I'm done. I'm getting out. No money in this game. This used to be a good game. It's not anymore. The industry is at a low point right now. Nobody's having it off. Nobody's good. The music stuff, all right, no, I'll take that back. The music side of the industry is huge, and I can't understand why. The only thing I can possibly put it down to or explain it to is that music artists, I am not a music artist. I do not move in those circles. I'm about as unmusical as you can get. But the music artists have realised that performing at a venue gets you £500.
Yeah.
Selling 1,000 hoodies with your name on gets you £5,000.
Yeah.
Now, you
I
can't
was-
just sell hoodies. You've still got to do the music, but the music's secondary. The first thing, if you want to make money, is sell the merch. And there are a lot of companies. We know, we've got allotment going in England. We've got Nick at T-shirt factory. We've got Fresh Air. Fresh Air got the Taylor Swift gig. Can you imagine how many shirts they printed?
in the
It's
millions.
untrue. And those sort of gigs, they don't print the shirts in England and move them to Switzerland. They print wherever the world tour is. So
Well, this is the new trend with music.
if the tour is in Germany, we find a German
Get it
printer.
Germany, yeah. That's
And then they move on to Japan. They find a Japanese printer. They come to South America. We find a Guatemalan printer.
Yeah.
And instead of shipping a shipping container full of merch around the world, they're producing it on demand. It's mass customization on demand.
Yeah, that's cost me, is that? Believe it or not, in recent years, I don't do a lot of band merchandise, but the bands that I do, all the European work has gone. So they used to order the stock off me that I would print for them, and they would take it international. If they were
They'd have to say, we need it because we're setting off on tour on Friday.
Yeah,
so we've got
they'd
to
come
have
pick it up. Yeah, quite
Yeah.
often they'd literally come pick it up in the van. Load a van full of stuff, and then bugger off to France or Germany or Russia or wherever. Whereas now, I actually saw one of them, and I saw they've got brand new merch, and they were posting about it, and I thought, oh, that hurt. So I messaged him and I said, oh, I ain't done it wrong, have I? And they was like, oh, no, we just can't afford it to be printed here, so we got it done in Germany, where we were playing. And
That'll be Lucas at Timeless.
It could have been, yeah. You're welcome. But that's how it is now. Bands, wherever they're playing, is where they'll get the merch. Is it
Merch
or
produced. Merch.
Merch. Yeah.
Merch ops.
Merch ops, yeah. He had a good old time, didn't he, Bryce?
I loved it at the show. Him and Christina and Mike, they loved it. Absolutely loved it. I've been on phone to them this morning, well, their morning, to tell them I won't be coming back, and they're gutted, like. But it's they loved the show. Loved doing it.
It would have been a nice. It would be nice to have a chat, and I'm sure he's way too busy. It would be nice to have a little chat with Bryce and have a Long Beach overview. Because normally that's what we would do. We would overview. The past 2 or 3 years, we've overviewed Long Beach, talked about what you saw, the stresses of running the show and how it went, etc. It would be nice to get Bryce on for half an hour and let him fill in for you.
Yeah.
You can be here. I won't kick you out, but I'm sure he's too busy. So.
Like I say, he's taking me gig in America. Don't let him take me gig here as well. I mean, I quite like him, but he can back off a little bit. Back off.
You know what I mean. But yeah, it would be nice. But, listen, and one door closes, another opens, don't it? And this is
an old boss of mine used to say, that if you plan a route to get somewhere, and you're driving down the road and the road's closed, you don't just stop. You find another route. You go around it. And that's what we do in business. It's what we do in life. It's what we all do. We can't just go, that's it, I'm done. Draw a line. We'll still find a way. So we'll still explore every opportunity and see what we can do to get around what is basically a roadblock.
Yeah. Right then, Tony. We're about to hit 1 hour 15. If anyone's wondering, I was busy. Now I'm quiet. And that's about the crux of it for my life. And hey, let's do this again. Because I actually enjoyed that. Did you?
Back to how it should be, yeah.
You know what I hadn't asked you? Have you got have you subbed it? I'm not far.
It's all gone, yeah. So it's not that bad, is it?
Have you got an itinerary for your visit to see our mate Flex? Do you know what problem you will be tackling?
No.
Oh, we'll do that next week.
Yeah, we'll go through it. We'll go through some stuff that I've seen, and we'll see how it goes. I've driven past up to his shop today, so he's in the van. He's in the same village that I'm in now.
All right, yeah. I like Flex. We've chatted a few times. He's a nice bloke.
Yeah, done a few things. I still think he might be anti-Moira, but
no, he's not. Anti-Moira is 1000% based in Australia. which
You
narrows
reckon?
it down to. I reckon it narrows it down to 2 potentials. Actually,
Is that
no,
the guy
maybe
who's-
3. Maybe
The guy who
3.
sent us the shit. It was the guy that sent the shit.
That would be my. I'm torn 50-50 between 2 potentials, and
Right.
he's one of the suspects.
Right. Okay.
Oh, I wish I'd have put it on, actually. I've been saving it, thinking I'm going to reveal it on Chippy Tea just to say thanks for sending it, and I completely forgot. So I'll put it on.
It got some good traction on my Instagram.
It's
some real
brilliant,
good
isn't it?
traction.
I'm so annoyed I didn't think of it. You know,
So
when you
the
say
head-
something.
The head of Avian wants one.
Oh, I do.
She does, yeah. Jeanette wants one. She's like, send me one of them.
Oh,
So, well,
brilliant.
believe it or not, it's actually printed with your stuff as well.
Yeah, well, that.
Fuck's that nice.
Your battery's about to die.
On what?
What was that?
It's not on my Mac.
Short fire alarm's not going off.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, on that note, before it plays
On that
notes
note.
down,
Well, fuck off.
we better wrap it up, haven't we?
Yeah, we
Hey,
better do it.
bloody hell. It's been right nice catching up with you again.
Yeah. I wanted to
Is that
know.
it?
You know one of the reasons. So,
Yeah.
what?
Oh, I've had a lovely time catching up with you again, Tony. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. One of the reasons I was so keen on doing another episode is I'll probably say it's up to 6 now. People have messaged me with the maybe it was this. No, it's not me. With the message that been listening to the podcast and been listening to the podcast and been listening to the podcast. Really love what you guys do. Totally unrelated, but they felt the need to say that they listen and they enjoy it. They love it. They look forward to it, and that is one of the reasons I wanted to get back into doing the podcast again. Because we've had a break, but because I haven't been doing anything, I've had nothing to talk about. But the fact that other people are listening and enjoy it, that's what drove to do another one.
I've had a few people message to say they're catching up on previous episodes. So we just needed a break, Tony. There were a lot going on in your life. I had to get my head into gear. And like I say, I'm trying to grow the business and I've got to put time and out a lot of hours into growing and moving on to the next step. And but I feel like I'm making good progress with that now, and I feel inspired again. I feel happy to talk about printing, and there's going to be plenty to talk about because I'm. What are you doing?
Your camera just wanders off every now and again.
Is it? It looks fine on mine. Oh, I'm off, Tony. I've had enough. I'm not doing this again. It's rubbish. I take it all back. I didn't enjoy your company.
Fuck you. Don't know what you mean, Danny.
God's sake. It was just daily falling asleep.
Yeah, no, yeah. Give her a
It's
nudge.
got a dead arm now, that's what it is. Oh, dude, just get me home back. Right. Listen, everybody. It's good to be back. Let's keep this momentum up. Get on our backs if we slack. Tony's back in game. We're making waves, building robots.
Building robots.
Tune in probably not next week, but maybe week after.
Yeah, we'll try and do something next week. I'll have done the Stuttgart show by end of next week. So yeah.
Yeah, well, that'd be a good topic of point of interest.
I've got somebody from England already coming across to go to have a look at this. So.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, it's good.
Out of curiosity.
Hmm.
Somebody with plenty of dollar.
No, somebody thinking about automation. Somebody with a 5-year plan.
Thinking ahead. That's what I like to hear.
Thinking ahead. Yeah.
Thinking long term. Right. Fuck off.
Rate me, old cocker. I shall catch up with you later.
Right. All best.
All that remains to be said.
I'll see you.
You keep giving me posh, no, she don't agree with me. I don't want lobster thermidor with raspberry Kool-Aid. It's Friday night, I'm within me rights. I want a Chippy Tea.